In the early 1900s, my Italian grandmother, Mariani, was widowed with 5 children. She was a proud woman who would not accept help from anyone. So she decided to leave Italy and come to the United States. She brought the oldest daughter with her, placed the older boys where they could learn to be tinsmiths, and put the baby in the care of a relative. One of the sons, Albert, who was creative, did not like being a tinsmith. He decided to become a tailor and learn that trade. Here he could design suits and was able to work for himself. After several years, the call to Hollywood enticed him to go west. There he found a place he really felt was a paradise for him. The weather was like balmy Italy, and the creative spirit was in the air. He began his business, and he attracted some of the people who were making the movies of the time. He was asked to make suits for many of the actors and was often on the sets fitting them. His business continued to grow, and he was finally able to establish himself on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. He was once asked to make some clothing for a young actor who had just been hired. He was sent to see my uncle, and from that day on, he became his tailor for life. That man was Ronald Reagan. My aunt would choose the shirts and ties to go with the suits, and he was happy with the results. In fact, he was so pleased that he remained my uncle's customer as an actor, as the governor of California, and as the president of the United States. My uncle had made his own patterns and designs, the clothing to make each individual look his best. He always had those patterns when needed to make any corrections, and Mr. Reagan always did look well in his clothes. When the president was shot coming out of the hotel in Washington, he was wearing his favorite blue pin striped suit. However, my cousin Frank, who was able to make an identical one for him, sent it to him. Before he left the White House, his portrait was painted wearing that new suit, and that portrait still hangs in the front hall of the White House. Once the president retired to California and his Alzheimer's disease had worsened, his wife Nancy would bring suits to be altered and repaired. Later, she mentioned my uncle's services to her husband in his biography. The president may have been the most famous client of my uncle and my cousin, but he was also a treasured acquaintance. Each time I think about that, I think to myself, and he could have been a tinsmith.